Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, April 28th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about how this tool can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick before I get started, I want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here soon. So if you enjoy what you see as you go through the video and you want to learn more about this tool, how it should be used, and why it's powerful in terms of helping to build consistency, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you like what you see, then certainly get signed up for the free class. First, a couple of clarification points. Number one, that number is still going to be changing as I go through the video, and the candlestick over here will still be moving around. That is because the market is still open for a little bit of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can catch some really, interesting late day type movement on video. So just keep that in mind. But the market is still close enough to being done for the day where everything I talk about will still be relevant as we head into Thursday. And then next, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So for you beginners out there, what that means is that each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol VIVK. And I like this one for one reason and one reason alone. And let me be very clear. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is a great discovery or that I have some sort of special talent. I assure you a bunch of traders have drawn that line right there at $3 and let's call it 90 cents. That level has stood out and stands out very clearly, and I make all those comments because when a lot of people are watching the same level, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic price movement. So there are no guarantees in the market, but my point here is it is more than valid, it is more than plausible to think that if the price can work its way up to that area and then get the break up through it, that break right there could well indeed create additional buying pressure and momentum because people are noticing that quote-unquote breakout occurring. So definitely keep a close eye on that. I think it's a very well-defined level and one that sticks out very clearly to I think a whole lot of traders. So if you like to play these sorts, that's price range, you like to play movements that have made a nice surge, have come back down and consolidated with a well-defined break point, then this one should certainly be on your watch list. Next one, CYN. Been tracking this one very routinely here, and another nice day here. And like the previous stock I just talked about with VIVK, another very well-defined pattern. I mean, so again, not trying to impress you, not trying to imply that this is some sort of secret skill that I have. I assure you a bunch of people have noticed that trend line right there. And then they've drawn something similar to this, but point here being just to convey the overall pattern right there. So let me change this to green to represent more so the bullish, support area of the pattern. And then to keep this pattern all the same color and easier to see. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the momentum move right there. We have our little golf hole down there to make it more visual. And we have ourselves a good, solid bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennant patterns that are occurring within general uptrends and you like to play this price range down below $5, then I definitely keep this one on your watch list for Thursday. Next one, BRQS. Very, very crazy day today, especially this afternoon. Again, each one of these represents 30 minutes. So check out that 30-minute session right there. Huge move down. Price did recover back up. So there's still going to be, a lot of people, I'm sure, watching this. But this is all also relatively tricky because it depends on what was your perspective going in. Meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you're buying somewhere up around here and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then yeah, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad because of the big pullback today. However, if you're somebody that cares about the big picture point of view, even with the low right here, so you have a low there, you have a low there, you have a low there, you have lows there, you have lows down there. And if you envision each one of those lows as stair-steps, what do you have? Again, emphasis on big picture. Well, from the big picture, you still very clearly have stair-steps progressing in the upwards direction. So from that angle, the overall trend is still bullish. Again, to reiterate, I understand that if you're some sort of day trader that bought up here or right there, then yeah, you don't care about these stair-steps. But that's why I'm trying to really differentiate what was your standpoint going in, because that's going to dictate, your, general view of this chart. So yes, today was very nasty, but overall, the uptrend is still intact via those stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. Next one, AMC, and some interesting movement here headed into Thursday because the price is, knocking on the door here of this red line resistance at 16. Actually did slightly get above it right there before getting pushed back down. But you also have the purple line there, which I've talked about in past videos, that 50 period moving average, quote unquote, moving downwards and getting more and more relevant. So you have this just general area of resistance right here between, let's just call it $16 and then the 16.18 mark, but to round it up, let's just call it $16.20. So there's basically this 20-cent area of resistance here, and that's the big question: is the price going to have enough strength to be able to push through it and then stay up above it? And if it can, of course, like I said earlier, no guarantees, but does that lead to a plausible thought process of, okay, if it can get above this area and stay above it, then maybe that's a leading indicator that there's some more strength to come for a bigger bounce, and who knows, maybe some sort of reversal. Again, plausible thought process, absolutely, but guaranteed, no, you can't quite say that. Now, as far as supports are concerned, nothing new here to report. Good to see that the price actually got really close to that green line that I drew in yesterday's video. Never quite hit it exactly, but to anybody that was, accumulating down around that support, congratulations on the nice bounce right there. But, just generally speaking, nothing has changed from the support standpoint. $15.20 is still going to be that key level. But what is definitely very interesting is, again, can the price actually break above this area here? Because there is some nice little miniature uptrend here. So is there enough power to it? Let's see what happens. Next one here, NKTX, and a very just unique looking chart, because at least I think I'm doing this from the naked eye, but I think the trend line, yeah, a very pretty steep trend line, but look at how well the chart is respecting this trend line. Now, I'm going to keep repeating myself. Does that mean that it's guaranteed to continue to respect the trend line? No, of course not. Nothing is guaranteed. But it goes back to the whole point of, but is it plausible? Is it valid? Is it logical to think that the price could come down there and bounce off that level? Of course that's plausible. I mean, it's only happened about 30 different times before. Once again, doesn't mean that it'll for sure happen again, but it's not some sort of random area on the chart. So just from a trend line standpoint, a very interesting trend line here. But what I'm very curious about now is, do we have a bigger pullback coming? Because there is this rising wedge pattern, and rising wedges are actually bearish. Now, just because, I talked about some bullish patterns already, just because there's a bullish pattern doesn't mean that the price is for sure going to go up. Just because there's a bearish pattern doesn't mean that the price is necessarily going to go up. But like I said, I think a lot of people are watching this rising wedge and they're curious about that trend line and whether or not the price can respect it again. I could see the price coming down here, bouncing off it, and then potentially coming down there, not for a full-blown reversal, but for a deeper pullback here. So overall, a very nice looking trend line there, but it does have to do with an overall rising wedge, which again doesn't mean a full-blown crash or anything like that. But could there be a deeper pullback coming? In my mind, that seems plausible, but let's see what happens over the next couple of days. Next one, NUTX, very crazy day on Tuesday. But now it's a big kind of, what makes it interesting is the question mark in my mind. And just as a reminder, what is the whole idea? What's the philosophy behind a watch list? Well, it's to find interesting situations and then watch them. Not just rush in and buy or do anything, but just at least watch them. And then based on how they behave, does it allow you to, create some sort of trade plan for whatever your personal strategy is. And the unique situation here is clearly has the ability to move very big. And then after today, the price is pulled back, but look at this anemic volume. I mean, truly terrible volume, but that's what makes it interesting but is it truly anemic, or is this going to be one of these situations, and this will make more sense to those of you that have traded for a while, where it feels like nobody cares about it, it feels like it's game over because volume drops over, and then all of a sudden volume surges back in and there's another move to the upside. Once again, to repeat, that's not guaranteed to happen. I'm not saying that at all. But is that plausible? Does that tend to happen? Yeah, that's happened, and I don't think anybody would be caught off guard to see something where you say, oh, wow, I thought that one was dead, and then all of a sudden it comes back to life again. I mean, have you ever been there? I'm there all the time where you see a stock and you're like, oh, that one's over, nobody cares about it, and then you look back and you're like, wait, what? When did that one come back to life again? So again, a very interesting situation because of the potential that's shown to be there, and now it's just, really, now to be fair, maybe it is dead. Maybe this thing just drifts back down into oblivion, and that's completely a possibility. But again, that's a two-sided coin. The other possibility is maybe volume returns and then gets another nice surge to the upside. So definitely one worth keeping an eye on. Next one, NIO, which I talked about on Tuesday as a very unique situation because if you remember on Tuesday, the markets got just absolutely destroyed. Yet here NIO was never even retesting the low from the previous day. And then Today, yeah, nice opening 30 minutes. It did come back down, but again, just interesting because the markets, yeah, they're green somewhat today, but this one just still continues to chop sideways, 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 which brings about, in my mind at least, a plausible question: is some sort of bottom finally forming? Because there has certainly been a whole lot of downwards pressure around the market, and yet this one, while not exploding upwards, is at least bucking the trend of downwards pressure by just simply going sideways. So from a risk versus reward standpoint, this is one that just continues to stand out. And, this is the potential that it has. I mean, this one can get moving. It can move in very quickly. Yes, that move ultimately kind of failed back to the downside. But the point here being is this one continues to go sideways in a general atmosphere of a lot of downwards pressure. So at least, in my opinion, at least keeping an eye on and putting it on the watch list so you can watch it over the next coming days. Next one, PLTR, and talked about this yesterday in regards to the price breaking down below that level, and was that start of a bigger downwards move. And yeah, definitely got confirmation. The downtrend continues, and in a pretty big way. The majority of that coming via that 30 minutes right there, whereas that big red candlestick formed. But even right now, the price not quite at those lows, but it continues to drift lower and lower. So at this point, just from a simplicity standpoint, in terms of gauging the trend, and as far as I'm concerned, the bears are 100% in full control as long as the price is down below that purple line right there. And sure, there can be dead cat bounces. So, I mean, right there, nice upwards move, but notice it was always below that purple line and then down it went. So just because, now again, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that this thing can't make bounces to the upside. All I'm saying is I'd be pretty skeptical of any sort of bounces until the price can at least prove itself a bit, and quote unquote prove itself being defined as not only getting above that purple line, but then being able to stay up above it. But even at that point, that still doesn't guarantee anything, but it does become a little bit more plausible in the sense of, okay, I can officially start to become less skeptical right now. But right now, I would be fully skeptical of anything in the upwards direction until the price gets above and stays above that purple line. And then as far as areas of support are concerned, the next key level, which I realize is hard to see, but I mean, it's basically heading right back down to these lows from a few months ago, down around $10.25. So keep a close eye on that from the support standpoint. Next one, AMD. Again, almost same general idea of PLTR, which is why I put them back to back here. Had that trend line right there that I talked about in yesterday's video. And not as bad as PLTR, but certainly did break down below there and never really made any progress. Yes, that strong opening 30 minutes, which essentially was then wiped away here. And going back to the whole idea, and again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because the same general idea holds. As far as just general trend, watch that purple line there, the 50 period moving average, which you can see is now starting to really, flex its muscles in terms of being an area of resistance. So AMD right now, as far as I'm concerned, bears are in full control until, again, the price can break above and stay above that purple line right there. As far as supports are concerned, at least unlike PLTR, this area of support's a bit closer right there at the $84 mark. But after 84, as you can see here, that would be putting the price at lows that have not been seen for months upon months upon months upon months. So we'll see if that level can hold or not. But yeah, as of right now, I would say that the bears are in full control. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And do this one basically every day because I'm always keeping an eye on it as I look to try to trade it either with stocks or options. But point here being, I like to just kind of talk out loud, and these are the levels that I'll be watching tomorrow. And the main level here that I'm very, very curious about now is going to be this 875 mark, which was essentially, is that right? Let me make sure. Low, yeah, right around, give or take, 875. But you can see this was the low from the last 30 minutes on Tuesday, and then you fast forward to the last 30 minutes today on Wednesday, and basically bounced right off that level. So once again, that's not a great discovery. I assure you, longs and shorts, everybody in between, bulls and bears, and everybody in between is going to be watching that level and wondering, let's see what happens, which, as I've said, is the whole idea behind a watch list. So that's going to be certainly the main area of support that I'm watching. If there is any sort of bounce, then the key level of resistance that I'm curious about is going to be that resistance trend line right there. And then just from a general overall pattern perspective, have ourselves what would be known as a bear pennant pattern. Again, just because it's bearish doesn't mean that it's for sure going down. But yeah, you got to think a lot of eyeballs are watching that 875 mark, myself included. So let's see what happens with it on Thursday. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, like I said at the beginning, if you enjoyed what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can, how it should be used, how it should not be used to help build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be very soon, Thursday, April 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Who knows if you're watching this Thursday morning? Then yeah, it's literally this evening. But keep that in mind, and hopefully I'll see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to put in the time and effort to create these videos, then do me a couple favors. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy, and as long as I know that you as viewers are enjoying this sort of content, I'll continue to put in the required time and effort to put these watch lists together. So again, if you enjoyed what you saw here, definitely get signed up for that class. Hopefully I'll see you on Thursday. Everybody take care. Have a good one.